All right, good morning, everybody. See that I'm partially dressed here this morning. I never can tell if this thing started automatically or not. Okay, so we're having some stir fry today with soy curls. I'm excited. Are you guys ready? Okay, our breakfast for today was our greens with some protein toast and some berries. You can have your berries with your base. There's my toast left over from the other day. Here's my berries mixed in with some base for later. It's kind of like a yogurt, like a strawberry yogurt. I love it. Tastes yummy. And it's just a little 4-ounce jar. So that will go with my pile of greens, lemons, and avocados later. And as you can see, I have another batch of my pea base making because when I did that video yesterday for the big group, I used almost that whole bowl. So I'm still just tripping on how big my chef jacket is. But I know it makes me look bigger to wear it, but it's so comfy to move around in. Okay, so let me get my pan heating up here. Okay, so you guys know when you're making stir fry, you always start with whatever your thickest, hardest vegetable is. Whatever vegetable is going to take the longest to cook, that's the one that you start with, right? So you guys know that. And I washed my hair this morning. It's fuzzy. Okay, so even though the recipe only calls for your peppers and your onions, your zucchini, your cabbage, and your soy curls, you can have other stuff in it. Like I have this leftover cauliflower I needed to use, and I have this leftover cooked broccoli, and I'm soaking some of the liquid off of it, or drying some of the liquid off of it, and that's going to go in at the very end because it's already cooked and broccoli gets really soft, right? So always use up your leftovers. Nothing in this house ever goes to waste. I never ever throw out produce. I don't throw out my greens, none of that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that I've showed you guys how to make your greens last longer. Same goes for strawberries. If you get strawberries in big containers like this, because that's what I make all my berry compote out of, after you clean them, look at this. Look how perfect these are. There's not one that's molded, mildewed. I wash them in vinegar water, soak them for about 10 minutes, dry them really good overnight, and then I package them back up. The greens, if I buy them like this, which is not that often, but if I do, I barely open them, just a corner, shove a paper towel in there. Again, barely open, shove a paper, like that's it. That's all opener it is. Shove a paper towel in there. That keeps the moisture out of them, and they last until you eat them all. You do not have to waste produce if you store it right and if you use it. And if you're eating like this, you're going to use your produce every single day, right? Okay, we're going to need some oil to get us started. And I'd say this is about, not quite a half teaspoon. That'll get us going. And the thing that I'm going to start with in this is this cauliflower. The cauliflower, first of all, I chopped it really small, but it's still hard. It's the hardest thing I've got out of all this stuff. So I need it to start cooking. Then I'm going to come in with my cabbage because again, needs more time to cook. Then I'll come in with my onions and peppers. My zucchini and broccoli will go last because they're the softest things I have. My garlic will be kind of in the middle. I'm kind of learning lessons with garlic this round. You can't put garlic in too soon. Don't cook garlic, start cooking too long or too early because it gets bitter and it burns easy. So I have learned some lessons this trip around the clock. Can't believe we're starting on week 2 already. Just trips me out. Okay, for the sauces that we're going to make for this one, or that I'm going to make for mine, I've got chili oil, soy sauce, and tahini. I've got a little bit of lemon, a little teeny wee little lemon here that I'm going to put in there too because I like lemon. I like lemon on everything. Lemon is not a hard thing for me to eat. Hold on, let me put, I want to start to go live in here so that if anybody does come on and say anything, Robin Norbetta, hi. See, I can't see you guys on my computer at all. I don't know why. And I need to make the screen bigger, so hold on a minute. Hi guys. So anyway, I can't see you guys on the screen, but I can see you guys if I go onto my phone. So I have to do the phone and the computer at the same time. And apparently it appears I'm going to have to get a new computer for this because something's happening and this is not wanting to charge correctly. So now I'm going to have to invest in a computer if I decide to keep going with this, and I'm just not quite sure if I'm going to do that yet. We'll see. I'm not quite sure yet whether I want to even keep going with the boot camp, to tell you the truth. I want everybody to know how to do this. I want to teach everybody how to do this. And our first boot camp was exhilarating. It really was. It was exhilarating. But I just don't think that they're all going to be exhilarating, and I don't know how much this is going to help everybody. So we'll see. We'll see how we decide to do that. Okay, I already have broth made from the other day, so I'm just going to splash a little bit in here. I'm going to turn my heat up, otherwise it might take us forever to get this going. I shouldn't have thrown decided to put the cauliflower in here. But even if the cauliflower doesn't get all the way done, I'm okay with that. We like our vegetables al dente. I've talked about that a lot here. Oh, smells good. Looks good. Hello, Robin. See, I can actually see your comments on the phone. I just have to keep the phone on. And I saw that you were already getting your stuff ready for today. Far out. That's the way you do it. I get up every morning, even when I'm not doing boot camp. It does not matter. And I chop my garlic and I chop my greens. I like to chop my stuff fresh every day, and I don't have a job, and I don't have little kids at home. So that's just part of my routine. I get up every morning, I make my coffee, because I like coffee. I make my coffee. I only have 1 cup, but I still got to have it, right? So when that's making, I'm busting up my garlic, getting it ready for the day. I'm chopping up my greens, getting them ready for the day, or just getting them out and setting them out and setting them ready. So it's part of my just prep work every day. I don't always get my dinner stuff ready in the morning, but sometimes I do. If I'm going to be busy running errands, running around town, going to the kids' house or something, I'll get everything for the day ready for when it is time for my meals, I can just pull and grab stuff. The nice thing about vegetable things is they don't have to be refrigerated if you don't want them to. Just put everything in the oven, or you put it in the refrigerator, it doesn't matter. What I love best, I think, about being vegan is that I don't have to worry about things rotting or getting salmonella or getting E. coli and stuff like that. Alright, so one little splash of broth. This is smelling good. Now what did I say was going in here next? Okay, we're going to put the cabbage in here. Because, again, it takes a while to cook down. And we're going to put our onions and our... Now, I gave a mouth for you guys to put on there for like 1 person. If you're making for a family or 2 or 3 people, I'm going to use my hands. My hands are clean. I would definitely... Actually, that's not even a good way to do it. I would definitely make more. And even though I like to use mostly green vegetables in my stuff, I love colored mini bell peppers. I love them. I just think they're a fun way to add a little bit of color to your meal, and I like them. Oops. Okay, let's let that cook down a little bit. Okay. Now, the way I did my soy curls this time is different. I know I told you guys to reconstitute them and dry them off and all that stuff. I have been playing with some new techniques that involve not getting them wet at all, was one of them. This one is you just get them slightly wet. Here. They got a little moisture in them, so you're going to get them slightly dampened with your broth base or water or whatever you're using. I use broth. I just barely got them damp, and then I poured the liquid off, and I just let them sit here. So they're kind of damp, they're kind of softened, but they're not overly softened. I don't like them when they get really mushy, and that's what happens if you leave them in the broth for a long time. A lot of people like them like that. That's great if you do. I just don't, because I like to eat them dry with spices on them. So I also love them barely cooked or barely reconstituted. That's the way I'm going to use mine today. And I'm hoping this pan is big enough because I'm looking at that, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, I don't know if my pan's big enough. I don't have my really big one in here either. Let me go get my big pan. This is the big boy. We're going to use this one because I just don't feel that this one's going to be big enough for anything. Yesterday I was noticing when I turned sideways or I'm looking down and so like this, I was noticing this, the turkey wobble. Out of all the loose skin I have, and the only places I really have it is under my arm, right here, the lower tummy, and a little tiny bit on the legs. You can't really notice on the legs. I think it's because I was so active as a kid. So my legs were always pretty muscular. But yeah, this I was thinking, if this would have been before the stroke, I would say before the stroke, I would have never done these videos. I would have done them unless there was somebody who could have taken a video camera and held it way up here and taped me from that angle. There's just no way I would have done this. A lot of personal growth happened. My thing became about I really wanted to share this information with people. I really wanted to help people get to a point where this would work for them. So the only way I could do that was to do this in person like this, and I couldn't let my turkey wobble be what decided to stop me. But wow. It's there though, isn't it? It's just one of those things. Now, I could get rid of it if I wanted to go have surgery, plastic surgery or something, but even if I had that kind of money, extra money, dispensary money, which I don't, but even if I did, I don't know if I'd spend my money on that because let's say it costs $12,000 to get this repaired. Now, if I had a job where, I don't know if I would or not. So it is part of who I am, but nobody likes it. We don't like it. I mean, we just don't. But if I had a job that could, or if I had the money to do that, I don't know if I would or not. I really just don't know. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. I remember I wanted a boob lift. The first time I ever lost weight, I lost my boobs. When I was a kid, I was a girl, I had the, standard rack, right? And they were where they should be, and they were just boobs. But then as I started having kids, they had a little bit of a hang to them, and I thought, oh no, what's that? But when I lost that first 100-something pounds, I thought, holy shit, what happened to my boobs? Oh, it was awful. It was awful. And I remember that I wanted a boob job. And I remember talking about it a lot, that I wanted just a lift. I didn't want to have bigger boobs. I'm perfectly happy being a C cup after being a double D and a triple D and all those other sizes. I'm perfectly happy with it. I wore sports bras for probably half of my bra wearing life, at least half of it, because you can buy extra large sports bras, and you didn't have to have bra size. That way, when people would ask you what bra size you wore, you could say, I don't know. Because I never wanted to know that I wore a G or a J or any of that kind of shit. I didn't want to know about that. I just didn't want to know. It's kind of like when I lived in tent dresses. One year when I was over 300 pounds, every single picture of me made that year, I had on what I call tent dresses. Just the big moo-moo dresses. And I lived in those things. Boy, it's really hard to not see yourself when you're living in that kind of stuff, right? Those kind of clothes. I wish I had cameras set up to where I could bring a camera over, show you guys my food right on top of it, stuff like that. But I'm not set up like that. This is my computer that's in front of me, and it just shows what I can show you right here. This is the setup. I'm not a professional. This is not something I ever planned on doing in my life. Now, that's true and not true, because we did plan on having a cooking show called Cammie the Vegan Kitchen Magician, and we had just started it with an actual producer that was going to come in and do the filming and everything. We had just started it right before my stroke, and I just hadn't felt like that was something I could really do. Doing this little cooking thing for you guys every morning, that's about all I can handle. It exhausts me. And sometimes I'm so tired that I really can't do anything for the rest of the day. Okay, I'm going to squirt my lemon juice in here, because why not? The one thing about these little lemons that you have to watch for is the seeds come out of them really easy. But if there's one in there, hopefully we'll find it before we eat it. I don't think eating a lemon seed would even really hurt you. Okay, I'm gonna put a little pepper. Okay, a lot of pepper. We like pepper. A little sea salt. Get that mixed in. And then I'm going to get about half of my garlic here, because I chop a lot of garlic in the morning because I'm constantly adding it to stuff. Trust me, by the end of the day, every single day that garlic is gone. Every day. I don't even know how, but every day it disappears. And I chop a lot of it in the morning. This was probably 8 cloves. And I like fresh chopped garlic. I do have the minced kind. I showed you guys yesterday that I have the whole garlic in the jars in the fridge. I also have the minced. So when something happens that I don't have any, I've always got backup. We eat a lot of garlic. When I was a kid, my dad taught us that garlic has like 300 something antibiotics in it. Natural antibiotics that are good for you. And people who eat garlic every single day very rarely ever have to take antibiotics. And in my whole lifetime, I think I've taken them twice maybe, and that was as a kid. I had pneumonia once as a baby, or a little toddler. And then I got impaled by a rusty nail in the forehead. So I didn't have the antibiotics very often. None of us kids did. And I think it's because he's right. We just lived on garlic. I mean, garlic was in everything my dad gave us. My dad used to give us a clove of garlic and a little bit of bread. He would smash it like it, make a pill out of it. He would take a piece of bread, put the garlic in, and smash bread all around it to where it was just like a chunk of bread with garlic. And he would have us swallow it whole with water. That's how much my dad believed in garlic. I don't think we did that every day. I don't know how often we did it, but I remember doing it plenty of times in my life. You know, and there's just something about once you add the garlic to this kind of stuff, that's it. That smell takes over, and boom. I'll put a little bit more of my broth in here. Now you can add whatever spices you want to. And you know what spice I don't have? Can you guys believe it? I was missing my garlic powder. We know that even with the whole garlic, I still use garlic powder. I need to own stock in garlic powder, or I need to learn to make my own. I'm growing my own garlic this year. Did you know that you plant garlic in the fall, winter it all winter, and in the spring is when it comes up? And if anybody's interested in growing garlic, the way you do it is you break you get one of those clove things that has all the garlic, and you break it up into pieces, and you plant them in their little paper wrapper right underneath the dirt, just one. And then the next season, the next spring, you'll get cloves out of all that. I got pepper up my nose. Anyway, I'm going to try it this year because supposedly out of every head of garlic, there's like 8 to 11 of the little clove things, and that's been about right. I've been counting mine. And you'll grow 8 bunches with 8 more, so you'll have 64 cloves. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that this year because we go through the garlic, and I would like to try to grow my own. I know this seems like it's taking a little bit longer than it probably should. This burner is not as hot as the stove would be, but trust me, the angle is so much better that it's worth it. So let me turn that up a little bit more. Now I'm going to put my zucchini and my soy curls are going in. See, it's a good thing I switched to this bigger pan, right? That little pan would have never been able to do this. Notice there's no cats in here today. On the weekends, when my husband is home, the cats are just like kids. All 3 of them are out in the garage with my husband right now. If he's home, those cats are right wherever he is. When he's not here, they're right underneath Mom's feet. But yeah, Daddy's like the person that they only get to play with on weekends. And our cats like to play. They like to be around us. They like to be wherever we're at. Being nosy, checking out what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with my stuff that I'm putting in here. I don't normally measure this, and I have nothing to measure it with. So I'm going to say that I put about, that's about 1/4 of a cup of, so 3 or 4 tablespoons. The chili oil, about 1/2 tablespoon. So far, we don't know if we're going to add anything else. I'm going to wait on the tahini. You don't need the tahini until towards the end. So let's get this soy sauce mixed up in here. If you want to, you can put your browning liquid, your browning sauce in here. You can brown it if you want it to be that color. I'm making it more kind of like it's a lighter color. It's funny how the soy sauce totally changes the smell. Totally. Oh, this is going to be so good later. I may not finish cooking this all the way just because I want to be able to finish cooking it right before we eat it. I'm going to toss in my cooked broccoli from yesterday. Oh, it looks and smells delish. Gonna drizzle a little bit of tahini in here. You guys, I wish you guys could smell this. I really do. Now, like I said, if you want any other spices in it, paprika, smoked paprika, cumin, chili powder, onion salt, onion powder, cayenne, anything that you're going to want in Italian seasonings, it doesn't matter. If you have certain seasonings that you love, like I know people who love cilantro. I like cilantro. I don't love cilantro. And they put cilantro in everything. I have a girlfriend, if you go to her house, you're going to get cilantro. Period. You're going to have cilantro. Just like I know people who love mint. You know, I don't love mint. I can handle mint occasionally, but I don't love it. I know people who love mint. Okay, so whatever things you love, I always tell my husband, if he says, babe, I really want this, whatever it is, I'm like, you should surround yourself with the things you love. Life is short. Life is short, people. If you love certain seasonings, have them. Have those seasonings. You don't have to do this kind of stuff exactly the way somebody else is doing it. That's the joy in cooking. Make it your own. Make it the way you want it. You may not like all these colored bell peppers. Don't have them. Have a single color or have none. If you don't like bell peppers, don't have any. If you don't like broccoli, don't put broccoli in here. I make myself eat all these different vegetables because I know they're good for me and I just believe that that's what I should do. But you don't have to do that. Okay, so here's what mine looks like. It's beautiful. I'm happy with it. That's going to be dinner later. Let me have a little taste of it real quick. Perfect on the spices. Got a little bite of the chili. A little bit of a bite. Not a lot. I didn't use that much. I'll finish cooking this off later. I'll probably drizzle a little more tahini on it. And that's it. That's basically done. So that's off. Yes, that's off. Alright, guys. It does become a routine, Robin. You're absolutely right. It does become a routine. So I think I've showed you everything for today. I'll get you something left. So that's it. Have a good day. See you guys later.